afternoon and welcome to News Update at 12 on Dominion Television, Ibadan. I am Olusegun Fawale. Now the news in detail. President Bola Tinubu says his administration is targeting a doubling of Nigeria's livestock sector contribution from its current $32 billion annual value to about $64 billion. Speaking at the 9th All-Africa Conference on Animal Agriculture in Abuja, Tinubu said the plan is aimed at boosting food security, creating jobs, and diversifying the economy. He said Nigeria has over 58 million cattle, 64 million sheep, 124 million goats, and 660 million poultry. The president said the government is promoting ranching, improved animal breeds, dairy production, feed development, and modern processing to transform the sector and attract investment. The Department of State Services, DSS, has released a carpenter, Mustafa Marwana, after clearing him of any link to the abduction and killing of pupils and teachers in Orire local government area of Oyo State. The attack on 3 schools in Orire on May 15 saw 39 pupils and 7 teachers abducted by suspected Ansaru terrorists. 2 victims were killed, while the remaining captives were rescued on July 10 following a joint military operation. The DSS Director General Tosin Ajayi ordered Marwana's release and approved an initial 3 million naira compensation to help him restart his livelihood. Investigators found no evidence linking him to the Ansaru terrorist group or the attack. Hundreds of concerned women in Osun State have taken to the streets to protest alleged political violence, intimidation, and unlawful treatment of citizens by security personnel ahead of Saturday's governorship election. The protesters, who converged on Laro Grammar School and marched to the Osun State Police Command headquarters, Oshogbo, demanded answers over the continued presence of the State Commissioner of Police, Ibrahim Gota, despite an earlier directive by the Inspector General of Police for its redeployment. Dominion Television correspondent Damilola Daudu has the details.
Their protests came just days before the governorship election, with the women expressing concern over what they describe as growing political tension and alleged act of intimidation in the state. They said the conduct of security personnel before, during, and after the election must be guided by professionalism, impartiality, and respect for the rights of the citizens.
If the decision to transfer the commissioner was made, why has it not been implemented? If the division was reserved, was reversed, who reversed it and why? And if the Inspector General of Police no longer has the authority to implement a decision concerning the deployment of his own officers, especially when it comes to security of citizens, then Nigeria deserves an explanation. Inspector General of Police, we now address you directly today as mothers and citizens who still believe in Nigerian police force. Do not allow your career and legacy to be ruined by desperate politicians.
The convener, Ayobola Awolowo, explained that the reasons behind the protest, stressing that the women were particularly concerned about the security of voters and the need for all security agencies to operate without political bias. The protesters also questioned why the Commissioner of Police, Ibrahim Goton, remained in charge of the security affairs in Osun State, despite the reported directive from the Inspector General of Police that he should be redeployed. They demand clarification from the Nigerian police force on the circumstances surrounding the continued state of the police commissioner, insisting that uncertainty over the issue could further heighten tension ahead of the polls.
No more kidnapping.
receiving the protesters, the Osun State Election Commissioner of Police, Samuel Etaifo, assured them that security agencies would continue to work within the provision of the law to maintain peace before, during, and after the election. He appealed to the residents to remain calm and cooperate with security personnel, assuring that police would not tolerate acts capable of disrupting the electoral processes.
Since I came, we have had relative peace in this state. But the problem we have now is that we cannot continue to tolerate what we have done today because it will wipe up the tension again. But I'm coming, madam. But I'll allow you to pass.
Thank you.
Do you understand now? Because let us assume you come out now, the other party comes out now, and both of you meet on the street. What will happen? Now I know you came to me, that's why I'm receiving you. What you have said is well noted. We are going to go back, re-strategize, and I want to assure you that all your complaints we will look into.
The women, however, maintained that their demands were aimed at ensuring a peaceful, credible, and transparent election, urging all stakeholders to put the interests of Osun State above political consideration. As the state prepares for the Saturday's governorship election, the protesters said they would continue to demand accountability and equal protection for all citizens. Damilola Daudu reporting for Dominion News.
In the meantime, sensitive election materials have arrived in Osogbo ahead of Saturday's Osun State governorship election, as the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) said it will draw ad hoc personnel from a pool of more than 30,000 members of the National Youth Service Corps (NYSC). The development came as security agencies stepped up preparations for the poll with more than 25,000 personnel from the Nigeria Police Force, Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, and Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC) deployed across the state. The Chief Press Secretary to the INEC Chairman, Adedayo Oketola, disclosed the Commission's planned deployment of NYSC member in a conversation with newsmen, while giving an update on preparations for the August 15 election. Passengers were stranded in Lagos and Abuja as aviation unions picketed Air Peace over alleged anti-union practices and non-remittance of the 5% ticket sales charge owed to the Nigeria Civil Aviation Authority. The National Union of Air Transport Employees, Air Transport Services Senior Staff Association of Nigeria, and National Association of Aircraft Pilots and Engineers, backed by the Nigeria Labour Congress (NLC) and Trade Union Congress (TUC), began an action early today. The unions are demanding freedom for workers to join unions without victimization and immediate remittance of the ticket sales charges. The picketing disrupted flight operation as the labor dispute intensified. Meanwhile, the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority (NCAA) has appealed to striking aviation unions to suspend their industrial action, assuring that the issues behind the strike will be addressed when Aviation Minister Festus Keyamo returns from an official trip. NCAA Director General Captain Chris Najomo said a meeting scheduled by the minister last week could not hold because airline operators failed to attend. He urged all parties to embrace dialogue and cooperation. The NCAA also assured passengers that the flight safety remains uncompromised, saying it continues to carry out its statutory safety oversight duties. The agency expressed regret over the inconvenience caused by the strike. The Federal Ministry of Finance has ordered the National Insurance Commission (NICOM) to suspend enforcement of disputed recapitalization fees and capital transfer requirements against Nikon Insurance and Nigeria Reinsurance Corporation. The directive followed petitions by the two companies challenging a 1% capital injection fee, additional processing charges, and a requirement to transfer the entire recapitalization funds into a Central Bank of Nigeria escrow account. The ministry has asked NICAM to provide the legal basis for the disputed demands while the petitions are being considered. The suspension will remain in place pending the determination of the complaints. And now to the foreign scene. More than 100 people have been killed while over 408 injured after a magnitude 7.4 earthquake struck Western Colombia. The quake hit Choco province at 7:34 a.m. at a depth of about 103 kilometers and was felt in Colombia, Venezuela, Ecuador, and Panama. Pereira recorded some of the worst damage with at least 40 deaths and 65 buildings collapsed. Authorities fear people may still be trapped in 15 buildings while 32 buildings collapsed in Cali. Deaths and damage were also reported in Manizales, Quibdó, and Medellin. President Abelardo de la Espriella has declared a state of emergency as rescuers search for survivors. Several airports were damaged while international partners have offered emergency assistance. Libyan emergency services are battling a huge fire at the Zawiya oil refinery after a drone attack targeted the facility, being the third attack on the refinery in 2 days. The National Oil Corporation says a tank containing about 4.5 million liters of fuel was directly hit, causing a major fire and forcing the tank to collapse. It warned that operations could be suspended if the attacks continue. There were no serious injuries, although several people were treated for smoke inhalation. The Zawiya refinery, west of Tripoli, is Libya's largest operational refinery, producing about 120,000 barrels of oil per day. In sport, the President of the United States of America, Donald Trump, has thrown his support behind FIFA President Gianni Infantino, warning that replacing him will be a terrible mistake. Infantino is facing pressure after his plan to sell about 20% of the commercial and operational rights to FIFA tournament to private investors was scrapped. UEFA, CONCACAF, and AFC have criticized the proposal, describing it as a fundamental breach of trust. Trump praised Infantino for presiding over what he called the most successful World Cup ever, saying FIFA would not be as successful or profitable without him. You can visit our website on www.dominion.org.ng to watch us live and interact with us. You can also follow us across our social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and LinkedIn at Dominion Broadcast, and on X at Dominion Cast. And that ends the news update on Dominion Television. I am Olusegun Fawole. Thank you for watching. Good afternoon.